Nicola Willis delivered her budget, and she pretty much gave us what she said she would, but used words like disciplined, decisive and tough. And it is tough being part of a coalition government because you've got each side wanting a little bit of something. So let's find out if the third part of the party, the ACT Party, got what they wanted. David Seymour joins me now, the leader. How are you, David?
Hey, great, thanks, Leah. I hope you're having a good afternoon.
It's good. What is the mood? Let's start off with how's the mood in the beehive today?
The mood is good, but you've got to remember that this is almost like a wartime budget. I mean, things are grim out there. We've just got to keep the money going in one day and out the next so that the basic things New Zealand needs keep happening, and that we're not running big deficits, and you'll see that comes down pretty sharply over the 4 years until we're in surplus again, so that we're still delivering the services that people require, and that we can do that while letting people keep a bit more of their own money. So it's pretty beige.
Yeah, pretty beige. 94% of households will get some income tax relief, which, I mean, is good. An average saving about $60 per fortnight. Now, I know ACT's idea was for a flatter tax system. That didn't see the light of day, but Minister Willis said it is an idea for the future. Is it something you're holding out for?
Yeah, it is, because fundamentally, if we want to become a prosperous, achieving society, it's harder to do that when you have the vast majority of people paying quite a low rate and a tiny minority paying quite a high rate and providing most of the tax revenue. So right now, the figures we have are a bit old, but last time Treasury did this was in, I think, 2020, and basically 5% of people were paying 33% of the tax. On the other hand, 48% of people were paying 8% of the tax. So, there's a small group of people that are paying a ridiculous proportion and a large group of people who pay a relatively small amount. Now, I know I'm sort of labouring this a bit, but I do think it's a really important point, is that when the majority of people see government as mainly a thing that gives, and a tiny minority work and pay for it all, that doesn't create the kind of society where anyone can succeed, anyone can achieve. It creates a society where you get whacked if you do, and basically someone else pays if you don't. Now, I think it's quite ugly to have that once you're a politician, like if you're the Labour Party, especially the Greens, you say, well, there's 48% of people who pay very little, and they'll vote for us if we promise to spend more. And then there's a tiny minority who hate that, but they're outnumbered. And there's something quite sickly about that culturally.
Yeah. Good points, David. And also, although I had a look with the annual operating allowance, which is just $2.4 billion for the next three budgets, that's pretty tight.
Yeah, it is. And if there's one thing I'm really pleased about with this budget, it's that we're signalling the way forward is going to be continued savings. If you think about what $2.4 billion operating allowance means, basically at the moment the government spends about $140 billion, so next year it'll spend about $142 billion. But if it just went up by inflation alone, then it would be, sort of 4% at the moment. So, that would require it to go up $5.6 billion just to keep up with inflation. And then there's population growth. So we're actually going to make quite significant reductions in the real expenditure per person. And that means that we're going to have to keep finding economies, keep saving, and fundamentally that the government's going to be more efficient and take a smaller slice of the overall pie, whereas, therefore there's going to be more cake for everyone else.
You have mentioned that there is still some work to be done rolling back more of Wellington's waste. I mean, you're mentioning reducing the size of the government, so more cuts still to come, David.
Yeah, I think there's no question there has to be. I mean, if you look at the way the previous government behaved, 30% increase in spending per person over and above inflation. And I know a lot of the stuff's not great to explain on the radio, but just let me say that again. You know, that the amount they spend on you after inflation went up 30% in 6 years. So there's no jiggery-pokery here. This is the real amount of money they spent up 30%. And I don't think anyone believes they got 30% better services out of the government. So, you know, we have to be able to get more efficiency after such a period of wastefulness.
Can we just segue out a little bit, David? I wanted to just get your thoughts on the fact that Te Pāti Māori has issued a declaration of political independence and wants to set up its own parliament. What do we say to this?